Hello, YouTubers. I want to welcome you to another edition of Bargain Bin Gear and Bargain Bin Amps. And this is basically a year 2021 gear roundup, if you like. It's kind of in combination with some of my favorite gear to date as well. And it's actually Christmas Eve. So I'm hoping that everyone's having a great Christmas. And I hope that you get the gifts that you wanted. I'm wondering how many Baby Yodas are out there under their tree. Okay, I'm certainly hoping to get a little Baby Yoda. But anyway, alright, so let's first go through, I guess we'll go through first my favorite amps to date. And this is based on amps that I've played, purchased, or owned, or own. And these are not really in any particular order, okay? It's kind of like a top 10, let's say, list. Alright. Number 1. The Fender Super Champ X2. Both the combo amp and the X2 head. Okay, and it's definitely one of my favorite amps because it's a really affordable tube amp, okay, with a really great clean sound, you know. Plus I can do amp models and things, but I don't really use that. I just kind of use the clean channel. What I really like about it is for 15 watts, it's not bad, you know. But it's the fact that it doesn't really use all that many tubes. So very inexpensive to replace the tubes. So basically, it's an inexpensive tube amp, you know, when it comes down to it. And I use it quite often. Definitely one of my favorites there. Number 2, the Mini Orange. Okay, and the Mini Orange is actually the Orange Crush 20 LDX. And this is a little solid state amp, and it's microscopic, really small. I just did a video on it recently. It's no longer being made by Orange. However, they still do make in the Crush series, they make a 20 watt little Orange Crush amp. But instead, the one I'm talking about is the LDX, which has built-in effects. Okay, the new ones have an effects loop. And I was just astounded by the sound of the Mini Orange. For being a solid-state amp, it really has a tube-like sound, a tube-like feel to it, too. And the built-in effects are excellent. It's the kind of amp, if you don't want to bring a tube amp, it's so small and convenient, you know, and usually I just play through two of them in stereo. It's just great. Handles pedals well and things. So that would definitely be one of my favorite amps, number 2. Okay, number 3. The Blackstar HT Club 40. And this particular amp, right, and I use the Mark 1 versions. I don't use the newer Mark 2 versions. Now keep in mind, I like to play clean, right, the clean channel on those amps. And what I really like about it is unbelievable for pedals. The second thing is, it uses a Celestion 7080 speaker. And I'm not sure how they do it exactly, but it just sounds amazing in that particular amp. Lead channel, I don't know. You know, I mean, it has one, and you can do American and British sounds and things, but for me, you know, I don't really use that anyway, so. So, I guess right off the bat, you know, this might not be the favorite amps list for everybody, but for people who play clean sounds, you know, this is what I run into anyway. The Supro Saturn Reverb amp. Okay, it's a combo amp, and it's only 15 watts as well. Very much like the Super Champ X2, but with a 12-inch speaker. And this one is all tube, one channel. And I'll tell you, when I first got it, I kind of had a love-hate relationship. It wasn't one of my favorites until I replaced the tube. And if you go back, I did a video on it. Once I replaced the tube from a 12AX7 to a 12AU7, I think even. I tried an AY7, then went even down to an AU7, and now it's definitely one of my favorite amps. And what I like about it is simplicity, but also the overall sound of it. It just has this really nice balanced low end, which I really like. Great sounding tube amp, and it looks cool, you know, the blue rhino and all that, Tolex. So the Supro Saturn Reverb. Unfortunately, they're kind of expensive, you know, in comparison to some other amps. The Fender Deluxe Reverb. Okay. Need I say more? Okay. No, definitely one of my favorite amps. Just the greatest. Clean sound. It's just the right size, just the right weight. All tube. Definitely. Yeah, it's just a great sounding amp. However, it kind of scares me because of how many tubes it has, I have to say. I play the Super Champ X2 more often than I do the Deluxe Reverb, for the simple fact that I don't look forward to replacing the tubes on the Deluxe Reverb. And this one's kind of different, and that is the Albion AG Series, AG40 DFX, and the AG80 DFX. Okay, and these are hybrid tube amps. In other words, they have a solid state power amp and a tube, at least, in the preamp and built-in effects. Now, I absolutely loved these amps. Unfortunately, the company no longer exists. Kind of went under. So it's kind of hard to find these, if you can find them at all. But the AG40 was a 1x12 combo. It was pretty decent. I certainly used them. And then the larger one is the 2x12 80-watt version, stereo version. Now, the reason why I like these so much is, one, it was kind of the inspiration for my current clean sound, if you like. Also, I was changing from playing a rack setup and modeling and all this business to more of an amp-based sound, and in fact more to a tube amp type sound, and the Albion was kind of the gateway to that, because there was something really nice about just plugging into an amp and having a really nice clean tone. It also kind of changed my playing, so I got a lot of benefit out of it, let's put it that way. And the effects were really good on that amp. In fact, very much kind of like the Mini Orange, had this very large kind of reverb sound that I liked a lot. Now, I will say that recently, in a way, I've kind of lost, well, the Albion amps, these the AG40s, have kind of lost their standing a bit, just because, well, I much prefer a full tube amp these days, and it has nothing to do with just being snobby and saying, oh well, it's got to be a full tube amp. It's not that at all. Just I realize now, and I can hear it now, that the hybrid amp thing is just not quite doing it for me, But I still love those amps. They're very nice. So if you run across one, an AG series, I definitely recommend at least checking it out. Chances are I may sell at least some of the 40s. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, moving on. The Carvin X100B. Right? Now the X100B, not just some run-of-the-mill amp. Okay? Perhaps I need to mention Steve Vai and Ralph Macchio, right? In the movie Crossroads. Because in the guitar duel, well, Steve Vai was using a Carvin X100B. Wow! Right? Well, I figured, man, if I got that amp, why, it'd sound just like Steve Vai and Ralph Macchio. Well, turns out nothing could be further from the truth. So why is this X100B Carvin amp on the list? Well, I'll tell you why. Because it really has a great clean sound. And in a tube amp, that's really what I look for, right? Just a really nice, clean sound. Which, oh, by the way, I should tell you, I ran across the Carvin X100B totally by accident, right? A guy had a used one. It was kind of not in the greatest shape and so on, but it was inexpensive. So I thought I'd try it, and turns out I love that amp. It's great. Alright, moving on. Okay, next. Along the same lines of the Carvin X100B, again another Carvin, the MTS 3200 head, 100 watt head. Oh man, wow, love the clean sound on that amp head as well. You know, I mean, you know, it's got that kind of Steve Vai, Ralph Macchio vibe going on, you know, throwing a little Miyagi in there somewhere. And I'll tell you, what a great head. Now, it's an all-tube head, and it's 100 watt. Luckily, you can switch it down to 50 watts. And what I've discovered on that amp, very similar to a lot of other tube amps, the clean channel's great. The reverb's really nice. It's just a digital reverb, but it works really well. Now, I can't say the same for the distorted channel. It's kind of like the Blackstar, you know, it's there and it's okay, it's not that great. A lot of people complained that on the MTS 3200 Carvin head, you know, that it has this 80s fizz sounds. I don't know, I don't use that channel, so I'm not quite sure if that's true or not. You know, but for a clean sound, it's right up there with the Carvin X100B. You know, just a really great sound. Now here's what's interesting. I remember when I bought that amp, it was really cheap for what it was. You know, I mean, I think it was like $300 for a 100 watt head. And it's got this bright, or is that, no, presence, that's what it is, a little presence knob on the clean channel. Man, you engage that and the clean sound just goes to doo-doo. Just craps out. Terrible sound. But take that off and man, it's just a great sound. And then the power behind is really something to behold. And I'd very much put that amp up there with probably a Deluxe Reverb or even a Supro as far as a clean sound. The Blackstar HT 20 watt head. Really good. Good clean sounds, great lead sounds, and so on. However, I should mention that one of them that I had developed problems as far as sound. There was something wrong with the sound. I was getting this kind of sounded like a thunderstorm or something. I sent it away for repair and they couldn't fix it. Luckily it was under warranty, and kudos to them, because while it took a while, I mean, I had to wait a long time I got a brand new replacement under warranty. So, let's put it this way, as long as you get one that works, you know, then it's fine. It's more than fine. It's a great sound. What I discovered, it has a really, thank goodness, has a really smooth sound. Smooth, clean sound. And the reason I say thank goodness is because it has two modes of clean. And one is very nice and clean. The other is kind of a crunch type clean, you know, just a tiny bit overdriven, which didn't work for me, but... So anyway, I found sweet spots in all of those. PV Classic 30. Who would have guessed? And I have to admit, it has a great tube sound. The speaker isn't all that great. It's kind of grainy. But more than that, it doesn't have the Fender kind of chime to it at all. But, with that being said, in combination with another tube amp, it sounds really good. You know, especially the Fender Super Champ X2. Alright, so those are my favorite amps thus far. You know, and there's some other amps I've played and tried and just didn't do anything for me. There's certainly other amps out there, but I really narrowed it down for me to what I really like. You know, and basically what it comes down to it, I really like a tube amp, a real all-tube amp that has a great clean channel. That's it. As far as the gain channel, you know, it's just not my thing, I guess. And I think maybe when I was a younger player, you know, that was a big deal, the gain channel, you know, which is why I gravitated towards the Pod XT Live and those kinds of things. But I discovered over time that it just wasn't my thing anymore, you know. And I've done videos on all these things, but these are the ones that really stuck out that I've tried, you know, and that I either kept, you know, or just had never considered selling, you know, because they're really some of my favorites. So there you go, and well, I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year and Happy Holidays. You know, it's been quite an eventful year, especially gear-wise. You know, for me anyway. And hopefully we'll see a baby Yoda under the tree, right, this year. Had it been a few years ago, it would have been a Cabbage Patch Kid. Or even before that, a Beanie Baby. Right? I guess before that, a Pet Rock. Alright. Anyway, so very good. See you next time. Okay.